The first animatronic that I'd like to discuss is one that was a large reason why I found this category of lost content so interesting. It's the fact that something like a Halloween prop could have so much debate, mystery, and research surrounding it. That is, if it really exists in the way that people claim it does. The topic is about a prop only known as Rocking Clown, which is the unofficial name given to it, based on recollections of seeing it in action. It's a product that dates all the way back to 2004, 2 decades ago, and was apparently made for Spirit Halloween stores. But despite having been made for retail, it apparently has no visual evidence supporting its existence. The first mention of Rocking Clown dates all the way back to 2004 itself, on a website called HalloweenForums.com. In a thread that was discussing Halloween props at Spirit Halloween locations, user JW mentioned seeing the life-size rocking Psycho Clown prop at their local store. When asked about it in more detail, they go on to explain the following day, and says that it's life-size, fully detailed, sitting position with full clown outfit. It laughs and rocks back and forth a bit, but it's $399, though no photos are provided of this animatronic. What makes it even more difficult about trying to identify what this really is the fact that there is no company info that is mentioned at all. There are a lot of well-known prop manufacturers that work with Spirit or sell their products in stores, but Rocking Clown's affiliation is unknown. In fact, some users believe that this prop's rarity is the result of it being a Spirit store exclusive, released only in one portion of the country. JW is supposedly from Pennsylvania, but when contacted they had no more details about it. Though this in itself has led other users to believe there are too many coincidences regarding its exclusive release or its rarity, and a much more likely explanation is that it's actually a misidentification of Chuckles the Clown from Gag Studios, which would make a lot of sense as the pose and price of this animatronic match up quite similarly to Rocking Clown. However, upon looking up the release date for both of these props, Chuckles released in 2008 according to the Spirit Halloween wiki, whereas Rocking Clown was seen 4 years earlier in 2004. This means it must be a completely different animatronic, and there's even more evidence to suggest this. While this mysterious prop's name is often shortened to Rocking Clown, the original reference mentioned Rocking Psycho Clown, which is what I started Googling specifically. That revealed an entry for the Rocking Skeleton/Reaper from a company called Season/Nightview. They started making stuff for Spirit in 2001, with the Rocking Skeleton releasing in 2002, before again being re-released in 2004, but that version was not exclusive to Spirit. My theory is that once Rocking Skeleton lost its exclusivity to Spirit in 2004, Season/Nightview came up with a new animatronic using the Rocking name and gave it to Spirit for release that same year. Season/Nightview also do not have any clowns listed on the animatronics they've produced, and with Clown being a popular choice, it's possible this one is a missing link. It's also interesting to note that the other popular companies people have suggested to be the origin of Rocking Clown, like Distortions or Morbid, only started making props for Spirit after 2004. This excludes them from the time frame. Unfortunately, Season's website was never saved on the Wayback Machine, and Nightview's website only goes back to 2008. I did look on eBay to see if Nightview products from 2004 had a different website URL listed on the boxes, but there weren't any, so it's likely they just didn't have a site back then. And as of now, there is also no presence of Rocking Clown in Spirit Halloween print ads from 2004 that has been found, so his true identity remains a mystery for now. This next topic of the video is one that falls under the lost, found, then lost again category, and for that reason has become very desired by the fans. In fact, this gets into an example of what counts as a found prop. We do have some images of its appearance, but not the video showing its action feature. This prop is called Face Ripper Bride, and was produced by Morbid Industries in 2009, though was not going to be sold exclusively in Spirit Halloween stores. From the few images we have of the prop, which includes an official page from their catalog, Face Ripper Bride is an animatronic that is supposed to look normal from the outside, and surprises viewers with the interior of her face as she pulls it away when activated. The official description from the catalog says, "Animated prop. Hands pull off face to reveal a ghoulish face behind. Sound effects and light up eyes. Motion sensor activated. Approximately 3 feet tall. 4 AA batteries not included." It does have a pretty scary appearance, and was accompanied by a Face Ripper Groom combination piece. While the two don't actually speak to each other or interact, the bride can be heard saying, "I'll make him suffer for what he did to me," which is her only confirmed line. Now the mystery for the bride comes into play when you take a look at the release history, as for some reason, she never actually came out. It's not known why exactly she was cancelled when in fact the groom did release, but at one point in time, you still could have seen the bride in action if you looked in the right place. On YouTube under the Halloween Asylum channel, there once existed a video that showed the bride activated and moving as it would have in a similar way to the groom. A lot of fans claim to have seen the video, with one having recollected a second voice line that the bride spoke, but we can't confirm this for certain as the video can no longer be accessed. This is due to the fact that it was removed from the channel at one point, with speculation pointing towards the idea that since the prop was unreleased, they didn't want a video up showcasing an item that couldn't be obtained. What's even more unfortunate about this search is that no archived copies exist. The owner of the video is the actual owner of Morbid Enterprises named Mark, and he's been contacted about re-uploading the video before. Though Mark claims he doesn't have access to his email anymore and can't reset the password to get back in and find the video. According to Razor, 2 to 4 prototypes of Faceless Ripper Bride exist, so it's possible that one could show up for sale and get bought by someone in the community. One of the largest lost animatronics that we'll be talking about is known as Oscar, and he has quite an in-depth history outside of just being used as a Halloween prop. For something as large as a 14-foot tall creature, you'd think there would be more documentation on what happened to it, but his whereabouts remains a mystery. Oscar is the name of a giant ogre prop that was first created in the early 1980s by an animatronic company called High Motion. They ended up making 2 Oscars, both of which were used for promotion at a trade show in Germany. But after this trade show several years later, the owner of a store in Syracuse, New York called Switz purchased one of the giant ogres from West Germany to bring all the way back to the US and display there. Interestingly, there exist some photos of Oscar in store, and according to some local articles written about him, Oscar became a well-known fixture of the area and a memorable landmark for the store. Now as for the second Oscar, that one was put outside of a dark ride in Germany for display, and also received some mini ogres to go alongside it, which haven't been seen since. But in the early 1990s, the iconic Switz store in Syracuse, where the iconic Oscar stood, would eventually close, and most of the displays that were inside were sold off to new owners. A man named Richard Wagoner bought Oscar and another set of animatronics. Spooky Guy444, who has been researching this topic extensively, informed me that the details get a little blurry around this time, but claims state that Richard sold Oscar to a gay bar called Ryan's, which was also located in Syracuse. After doing a little looking around, I was able to find a Facebook post from 2016 of Syracuse locals looking for help in locating Oscar. One user claims to have bought the skeleton band and apparently still has it, and another user who states Richard is their brother, who confirmed that Oscar was sold to the bar, and that Richard bought a whole bunch of animatronics from the store. More of the comments reveal the rest of Oscar's story, before the trail runs cold. Once Ryan's ended up closing in the late 1990s, Oscar ended up being sold again, but this time his owner was never documented. A comment from Richard's sister suggests that he ended up at a haunted hayride attraction and was left out in the elements to rot, but nobody has seen him since, so this can't be confirmed. Though someone else does mention that they read an article which mentioned Oscar was last seen in a warehouse in Florida, but they can't remember the article and there's no year given on when this was reported, though it sounds more like an unverified claim than anything else. I tried looking around but couldn't find any other article that mentioned him, so it's a mystery what this user was referring to. Besides a handful of photos showing Oscar inside of Switz, there is also a commercial from 1989 that shows him in action for a few seconds, but it's nowhere near what his full range of movement would appear like. And as for the second Oscar that remained in Germany, that one was sold in 2021 on a German website and hasn't been seen since. It's unfortunate that both Goliath animatronics are either hidden away from public view or actually gone forever, but maybe someday they'll show up when they're least expected to be seen, and it'll be a huge surprise for the fans of this animatronic.
Not every lost animatronic had a wide range of motion or a lot of documentation surrounding its existence. Sometimes there can still be a lot of unknowns that need answers. This next entry is a perfect example of that, a prop known in the community only as Standing Clown, since its official name is not known. This was definitely more of a prop compared to being an animatronic based on the couple photos we have of him that are available. It was made by Fico sometime in the late 2000s and early 2010s, but its exact year of creation is unknown. Additionally, given its rarity, it's not known if this guy was cancelled in production or actually saw release. But the theory is that he did, since the other props he's standing next to did release. Websites have also resurfaced showing that he was at least listed for sale on them years ago, suggesting fans could have bought him at the time. Another version of Standing Clown, which hangs instead of stands, was also sold on these websites and supports the theory that Standing Clown was made. Despite looking similar, each figure has a slightly different head construction, with the standing one appearing long and skinnier, while the hanging style had a short, fat head. However, without the prop being fully displayed, this difference in appearance is rather unhelpful, for the fact that it's hard to tell which prop is which when disassembled. A photo resurfaced on Facebook Marketplace showing a prop that could be Standing Clown, but without the head in its proper shape, it's too hard to tell. There is also another picture from Reddit that seems to show him from another angle, followed by two more that could be the hanging versions. With the differences in angles and coloring, it's really hard to tell them apart. The photo from Facebook Marketplace also makes it seem like he has a head that is more purple in color. Interestingly, the Reddit thread also mentions that it may reuse a common Fico line, stating, "Guess who's coming?" as well as light up eyes. The rarity of this prop already makes him difficult to track down, on top of the fact that there's another version which looks so similar, it's hard to tell the two apart.
Another lost animatronic with a confusing backstory relates to the whole series of creatures that were supposed to release, though didn't as originally depicted. These lost props are from a line called Floating Monsters, released by Techie Toys between 2006 and 2009. If you search for these online, you can actually find the original listing for them on Techie Toys' website. The series is a set of 6 characters, which are described as Reaper, Witch, Ghost, Devil, Mummy, and Zombie. According to the website, they stand 5 feet high and require 4 AA batteries. Razor informed me that these guys stood on a small, Roomba-style base that allowed them to roam around the room and gave off a floating effect. Now, what's most interesting about this set of characters is that you couldn't actually buy all 5 of them as advertised here, because it seems like the majority of them didn't even come out. Of the 5 shown here, only visuals for the Reaper and the Ghost can be found online, along with some videos of them in action. Some versions of the Ghost look way different compared to the stock photo here, though strangely there is evidence to suggest a smaller version of the 5-foot Ghost came out, this one only being 3 feet tall, but looks exactly like the 5-foot stock photo. Now the Witch, which is mentioned here but not shown, did release as well, and has been documented through photos and is on the Spirit Halloween wiki. However, as for the other 3, there is no evidence to suggest they ever released, and the wiki itself does not even make mention that they came out. My best guess is that it was probably decided that the overabundance of different styles was not necessary, and it would make more sense to manufacture a smaller selection to maximize sales. Not to mention, the Ghost itself also received a revision at one point, so it suggests they did go back to the drawing board at least once. There was a theory from within the community that stated they may have been exclusive to the UK or released in very small quantities, which could be the case if they weren't released at Spirit, which is why the wiki does not list them, but so far there haven't been any sightings of them, despite being so old. Though perhaps the rarity of the 3-foot Ghost does suggest the other ones are out there and just haven't been found yet. And to make things even more confusing, while searching Worth Point, I did find a Bloody Ghost, which could just be a custom, but it could also be another really rare variant that no one has documented outside of this picture.
The next animatronic on this list is one that comes from one of the most obscure Halloween prop companies that the community is aware of, that one being Patini Enterprises. According to another thread from HalloweenForum.com, there is not a lot of info about the products they released and few archives of their catalogs showing their lineups of props. It's mentioned that they apparently dealt with skeletons at one point, but more boxed animatronics were shared to the thread, which broadened their history. Many of these have videos already showing them in action, and in the years following this thread, entire lists of their work were added to the Spirit Halloween wiki, as well as portions of the website. Unfortunately, it doesn't display much, but does reveal that its founder formerly worked at Morbid Enterprises. They discontinued their props in 2017, so the company doesn't even exist anymore, and that has left a few mysteries behind for the Haunter community. The biggest one relates to a prop named Impaled Hal. Produced in 2011, to date his only documented appearance was from Patini's own catalog, which is also lost media. According to the description in that catalog, it states that he shakes in agony, plus his eyes light up. It goes on to describe that he is motion and sound activated, apparently life-size though. This is speculated to be around 3 feet tall. According to sources, there is a claim that states Impaled Hal is actually a Techie Toys prototype, suggesting that he might have originated from another company entirely, and was reused by Patini. The mystery surrounding him is so large in fact, that it's not even known if he was actually released or not. With so many examples of rare animatronics having been released, it's too hard to say if his absence suggests nobody has him, or if he was released in such small quantities that he could be found. In fact, it would be cool to take a look through those lost Patini catalogs and see if there are any other props that never came out, or that we don't even know exist. There is also another example of a lost Patini animatronic that is so rare it could aid in the theory that Hal did release. That one being the animated drinking witch. The only sighting of this witch to ever occur came from a Halloween prop auction from Silver Springs, Maryland in 2013. She can be seen inside and outside of her box, but no videos of her in motion ever resurfaced, and dates her production to being sometime in the early 2010s. Hal is also dated to that era, so it's possible he saw a very limited release along with the rest of these creations.
Finally, let's end with a great example of a found animatronic, and one that the community was so happy to finally get a video of. This one had actually been lost for quite a while, and it was only recently that it showed up. The history surrounding the animatronic, known as Creepy the Clown, is very interesting, dating all the way back to his planned release in 2004. This prop was produced by Distortions Unlimited and was supposed to be released, but instead was abruptly cancelled, as a result of haunts and amusement areas taking little interest in purchasing the character. Basically, no one wanted to buy him, so he was never made, and apparently he was an animatronic that was quite difficult to produce as well. For the majority of Creepy's existence, his only photo evidence, like so many of the other lost props on this list, comes from his original catalog page. It describes the functions of the animatronic, mentioning the light in the lamppost flickering and the balloon inflating, which hides his head as it turns around and reveals a creepy clown face. It also had several different modes of operation, including motion sensor. Nearly 20 years after this guy had first been advertised, the Lost Prop Discord server set out on a search to find out what happened to him, and if there were any videos that existed showing him in motion. Looking past the fake websites that claimed to have the character for sale, actual Distortions Unlimited employees were contacted, which included the videographer for the company. But strangely, even he did not film a video for Creepy, and had never even seen one. Nobody at the company had any content from Creepy's production. Rumors persisted that different individuals had videos, but none ever resurfaced, and claims that a prop collector was auctioning off a prototype of Creepy were also passed around, but that seemed to not happen either. Up to that point, there was simply no video and hardly any photos of him that existed. It was a bit of a dead end until the unexpected happened. Just like what happens sometimes in the lost media community, when desired content shows up out of nowhere, a single YouTube video would end the search over a year later. On September 4th, 2024, a video resurfaced showcasing the Morris Costumes booth from 2003 at the IAPA Expo, which is the largest trade show for the attractions industry, and in the display was Creepy himself, standing alongside other Halloween animatronics and props. In the video, we get some pretty clear views of him in action, showing off his balloon-blowing feature and the head spin to reveal the creepy clown face on the other side. While I think the animation of the figure is pretty good, I have to admit I'm not super impressed with the character itself. You almost can't even tell that the face on the other side is any different than his main face, and even so, it's not really scary. Maybe they weren't going for something terrifying, but perhaps that's why there was little interest, but it's interesting to consider that if he was made, he never would have become lost in the first place or known for this reason. It goes to show you that no matter how unreleased or rare a prop might seem, you really never know when it'll appear and become found. I'm definitely interested in this new area of lost content to research, so let us know if there are any more props you want covered, or any that the community isn't even aware of yet, because I'm sure there are still many more lost props that need to be documented. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out some of my other Lost Media videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Finn.